Mike Gidich is joining me from Honey Dudes. Hey, Mike, how are you?
Great, Joe. How are you?
I am living the dream. Thank you so much. I love having you come on the program to answer questions. This is probably a question that you get often. It has to do with the agreement or the contract. Do you guys have like a written contract or something you do on an iPad for the homeowner?
100%. We're in 2024 now, and I think it's important to have clearly written expectations out of the job. So what happens is we go to the house. The technician will explain everything that's going to be done, hear them to understand what they need done, write it all up with the price and the clear-cut expectations of what's going to happen. The homeowner then signs for that. And also there's documentation in there if there's any issues that could potentially arise. Sometimes if you're looking for a small leak and cutting a small hole in the wall, you're not sure what's going on, what we can find and what's going to happen to proceed from there. So I think it's important to have that documentation and that contract for just clear cut expectations on everyone and slowly go through that and make sure that everyone's on the same page before you pick a tool up and start the work. Um,
I
Super
agree with
important.
that. Yeah, and Mike, it's not just for you to protect you and your company. It's also to protect your customer. And you kept talking about expectations. It's true. Some people like to call it a contract, an agreement. I like the term agreement actually because it is an agreement between the two parties. You say you're going to do this, they say they're going to do that, and if this comes up, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, 100%. It's an agreement and an understanding. It's a really, like I said, it goes back to the communication. You don't want the old handwritten receipt that is kind of scribbled and not real sure, or that you get, as an older practice that you get after the fact. Hey, I complete all this work. Here you go. Well, geez, I didn't know you were doing this. I love the new model and the way we've kind of gotten with the times on this to bring everything up front that you can and bring that communication forward. It's super important.
Mike, you and your team and Honeydews have done a great job because in your industry, the handyman is generally thought of as a non-professional in-home service. They're not licensed necessarily. They don't have to like have permits or go through classes. They're a jack of all trades, and some of them just do things kind of with the handshake, right? They're like, "Yeah, I'll come by tomorrow. It's going to be $212. Is there a contract? No, don't worry about it, man. We're just going to come by and do it, and we want to be paid cash." Okay, so that's a handyman. You guys are more professional.
Yeah, 100%. I saw a big need to change the way this is done. And again, I think it's important. It's clear cut. We come in, uniforms, the runners, we talked about a little of that last time we were on the show, but it's important to know what your capabilities are too. I think in the handyman world, it's such a vast business that people can get into things they shouldn't be. And there's a lot of things we've learned that we don't get into. We don't get into repairing garage doors. I don't get into repairing furnaces. And we don't get into deep plumbing issues. We know what our limitations are and the things that we can train on and recreate to give you that professional experience. And there's plenty of work in that bubble and in that realm. So
Yeah, actually, the handyman umbrella is, I believe, the largest of any home service provider. You've got the air conditioning tech, very narrow, plumbing is narrow, electricians are narrow, garage doors is narrow. You guys have a lot of other things from hanging a ceiling fan to fixing a door jamb to hanging a door to painting to washing something. It goes on and on, maybe even hanging a big picture or a chandelier, right? So it's it's really a catch-all.
yeah, it's a catch-all, and it's recognizing when you run into something. Hey, this is an electrical scope that we shouldn't be doing. You're going to need an electrician. Hey, there's a plumbing issue that's a little deeper or could run into problems. You need to get a plumbing company. And we have good, reliable, licensed companies that we can direct people to, which is nice. So we can provide that for them also, because a lot of times people don't know who to call. But yeah, it's great, and it's a win-win for everybody because, like I said, we can guide people to that and also know what our limitations are.
Mike, as always, thank you for joining me here on the Check a Pro Radio Show. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, and I appreciate being able to come back on the show.